What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. It seems like a while since I've said those words, but we are back with hopefully consistent content. And why wouldn't we be? As you can see from the title, the window hasn't even opened. It hasn't opened yet. And we're talking about players on the verge of joining, but we've got more in the line in this show. We're going to be talking about, of course, a potential new signing from Real Betis. Also, England squad announced which club is representing the most players. Not United, not Chelsea, Crystal Palace Football Club. Discussing those players selected and also a potential outgoing as well. But as always, as we've been doing throughout this season and with these shows, if you can hit the like button, if you do enjoy the content, of course, and also make sure to get involved by leaving down your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below to help the algorithm. And also, let's get the chat going as usual. T. Whoa, it feels like it's been a while since I've said that word, the word T. Where have you been? Where are you? Man. Why are you avoiding me?
What you mean, man? You out here shooting movies and all that stuff, man. I can't, not all of us can go, you know what I'm saying? But it's been a minute.
It's been a while since I've had a wardrobe behind me, man. I do miss it. I do miss wardrobe. Probably need a new setup when I go back, man. But how you been, man?
Been good, man. Been doing good, man. Excited about this, excited about the end to the season, the way we ended it. But now we getting into that part of the year that I also enjoy, the rumors and conjectures.
I'm sorry.
And apparently D is a porn star.
Yeah. I don't know where you got that from. I don't know what type of movies you thought.
It's that background. Oh, no, it's the background. He's in the hotel room.
Like the wrong audience. Hey, I'm not sure that's kind of movies. I'm not. But yeah, that caught me off guard. But look, going back to topic, I just didn't. Honestly, T, with Palace, we're here deadline day talking about we miss out on this player and that player. I'll be honest, I can't remember the last time where the season has ended and literally a day after the season ended, we're seriously in talks about signing a player. Let alone, look, the window ain't even open yet. It feels a bit different right now, supporting Palace, doesn't it?
I think you've seen rumors before, but nothing like what we saw with
close, yeah.
We're going to talk about. Like, it's like, we're deep into negotiations. We should see a signing within a week. It's like, excuse me?
Like, club?
Yeah, Palace.
The one in South London.
Yeah.
That's what exactly. That was my initial thought as well. But before we do actually get involved with the transfer rumors, as we're talking about, I don't do that for a living. As we're talking about, Palace squad and Palace news, I think it's only right to start with one of the biggest news today. Confirmed news is that Palace players have been selected in the England provisional squad. Of course, Palace are representing England the most out of all other clubs, which is wild to say when you consider the big clubs out there. But Henderson, Gahey, Adam Wharton, and Eze have been named in the provisional squad. Now, that doesn't mean that they will be 100% going to the Euros. But the fact that we have 4 players out there, four very good players, 4 players who deserve it, that in itself is a positive sign. 1, for the club, to show the ambition to these players that you can play for Crystal Palace and be in contention for the England squad. And 2, it just shows how good that these players have been to be getting, selected in the provisional squad and hopefully onto the final squad as well before the Euros begin.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that it also shows is that Palace still has an investment in English players and quality English players. So I think a lot of people are like, well, how does Palace have 4 people? It doesn't make sense. A big part of it too is the fact that looking at the landscape of the Premier League, there are a lot of players from other countries that fill out these squads for other teams. That's just the truth of it. But we have invested in English players that are excelling. I mean, I don't think it's that huge of a deal for somebody like us to be tied with. I think is it Man City that we're tied with for most players?
Just the fact that we're up there, the fact that we're tied with, it's crazy in itself. I mean, yes, it is a provisional squad and things can change, but still, there's
a great chance that all 4 of those guys can actually make the team.
And also, it's not like things will change and there will all of a sudden be 5 or 6 Man United players. It's like things change and the squad's only going to decrease from this point onwards. It's not going to be like new players added on. This is it. And
Yep.
also
Yep.
be one of the clubs that represents, well, in terms of club level, the highest amount of players that actually, go to the England squad, and which is crazy to say. But who do you think out of those four will make the final four? Final squad? All four? 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, well, I think the shoe in is Mark Gahey. I think Gahey's the shoe in of the four. But like I said, I mean, I could see all four of those guys making the team when it's all said and done. If I'm being quite honest, but Gahey definitely has the best chance out of the four, just because he's been a pretty consistent participant in Southgate's teams in recent past.
He has. And I think Gahey is one of those players where I think he will be there. Like, that's confirmed one. The interesting element now is when you talk the likes of maybe Henderson, the goalkeeper situation. I think there's a solid chance of Henderson being in the final squad as well. But the question marks are over the creative players, Eze and Adam Wharton.
Yep.
I think when it comes to Eze, he's got the ability to make the final squad. But then again, we're talking about Gareth Southgate, so we don't know how exactly he's going to be thinking, even though he has made some bold moves. It shouldn't be bold, but the fact that he hasn't had Jordan Henderson there, etc., those type of players is a move in itself. And Marcus Rashford, which he hasn't really done in the past. So that is bold in itself. But would he be bold enough to bring in Eze, who has actually, been called up before to the England squad, but Adam Wharton, who's only just come to the Premier League about 4 months ago, and now already called up the England squad. For me, I think Wharton might be a bit too soon. Not that he can't play for the England squad. I think maybe Southgate might be a bit cautious about it. But Eze is the biggest, question mark. Do you reckon he could potentially make it with all the creative players that England already have?
I do. I just think it kind of boils down to what Southgate sees with those attacking players and what he prefers. Like, if you're to ask me, I'm going to pick Eze over a guy like a James Maddison. Just me personally. But I guess it all depends. And then, 7 guys need to not make it for certain guys not to go. And I feel like there's a few names in each of the position groups that you could kind of check off. Like, the reason why I could see Henderson making is because I don't think you carry Trafford. I don't think there's a need to take Trafford. But you could, and you could, or you could take Ramsdale off there. Ramsdale doesn't even start for.
Kind of deserved it. Am I right in saying that? I don't think he's had great season for Burnley, so it doesn't really make any sense for Henderson to be dropped out for Trafford.
You could keep a Wharton instead of a Curtis Jones. Who, I mean, I guess it really just depends on what Southgate sees and who he wants in that attacking group. But for us, I think with missing out on Ebbs, it feels criminal almost if he doesn't make it. But
you can make the argument that it shouldn't have been 4; it should have been 5. Whereas Mitchell,
100%. Because they don't have a recognized left back. Because Luke Shaw's not going to play.
About Mitchell not being called up to the England squad, especially if we're talking about form. I think Mitchell's been one of the most informed players since Glasnow's come in. Of course, Mateta's benefited, but I think Mitchell has also benefited from the system as well. Are you surprised that he hasn't included Mitchell in the squad?
I'm not surprised. But I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed and almost angry about it. The reason why I'm not surprised is because Southgate has shown multiple times in the past that he will pick a squad without a true recognized left back in it, because he's shown the propensity to throw a Kieran Trippier on the left. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised because of that. Like, he put Luke Shaw on this provisional list, knowing full well that Luke Shaw is not healthy.
Yeah, that's the weird element. Like, he still, as I said, he's kind of made some bold moves by excluding certain players, but
absolutely,
made, typical moves by keeping players that are not even fit. So it's like, he hasn't. It's not like the squad is. But that's Southgate for you. I'll be honest, me personally, I unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you view it, I follow Turkey when it comes to national teams. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, I understand we're knocked out like straight away. But you know, if you know, if you're looking at the Euros and England's chances, England should 100% be up there as one of the favorites. I think if we're talking about some of these players and how much we value them in, you know, in the UK, they're up there like 70, 80 million pound. That squad is just unreal, even in depth. So yeah, I mean, Southgate should have won something for England. I've never really rated him so far. I think he's done a good job in terms of bringing the morale back and the belief. But I think with another manager, England right now have a trophy. They win a trophy. I truly believe that with the players that, you know, England have available. I think Southgate has brought it to a certain level, but this squad right now it should have been, you know, much better in terms of winning trophies. But hey, look, this might be his last tournament. Let's see what England do in Euros. I don't think Turkey will be winning it anyway. But
Who knows, man? You never know, man.
yeah,
You never
Gula,
know.
yeah, Gula from Real Madrid, Yildiz from Juventus. There's a few,
You
but
just
yeah,
need
let's see if they pop it up,
you just
man.
need to be playing good ball at the right time.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. But of course, we're not going to even just talk about England. Just quickly, bit off topic. Poch gone. You surprised? These inside reports at Southgate. Nah, just Southampton's not becoming new Chelsea manager. But Poch is gone. I guess that helps us because of what's happened towards the end of the season with, you know, Chelsea taking on form. It is baffling to me. I think Poch is a real winner out of this. You know, honestly, you know, he's left the club whilst being on good form and whilst getting things ticking and finally making it work with youngsters. As soon as it works, out the door, we're going to start again next season. So I think Poch leaves with his rep higher than it would have been if he left, you know, halfway through the season. But yeah, I don't know what you make of it.
Man, the first thing that came to my mind is the fact that I think Pochettino was seeing success with the squad that they have, and they technically didn't like that. Only because I think that they were wanting to move a lot of guys on in this coming summer. They wanted to get rid of a lot of guys, and I think that Pochettino having success with the team that he had, he probably wanted to hold on to a lot of guys that the Chelsea front office probably didn't want, that they were planning on selling and hopefully trying to recoup some money on. But you probably had Pochettino saying, no, I don't want him to leave. I want him to stay. You know what I mean? A la, I don't know, like a Noni Madueke or a Mudryk, somebody who for so many months was talked about not playing well or being moved on. And, you know, all of a sudden they turn things around, get things going. And now they're like, you know, Pochettino's like, no, I want him. I want to keep those guys. So
it's weird,
maybe, it's weird.
Like the fact that they get rid of him now after he's doing well and they didn't get rid of him through the season is weird. It's weird. I think some Chelsea fans are just pissed off, and I don't blame them. But anyways, this is not a Chelsea news show, but we just went a quick, you know, bit off topic because someone asked us a question. Let's get into the real juicy element. This is now we ate through the bun. Now we're crunching onto the meat. Pause. Let's move on to the player that could be potentially be joining the club, and that is Chadi Riad, who is a Real Betis Moroccan international defender. According to the Mail Online, talks have been taking place in recent days as Palace look to strike a deal. Yes, look to strike a deal before the window has already opened. The Palace way have also reported that, you know, Palace have been scouting the defender for a number of months, and it's been on a short list of players to sign this summer. So it's not a last-minute decision. And also the opening bid from Ryan Taylor Sport, the opening bid of £10.25 million plus £1.7 million in add-ons slightly falls short to Betis' valuation of the player, as Barcelona are due a significant cut of any fee for Riyad if he was to leave, because I believe he's out on loan to Betis from Barcelona.
Correct.
And they'll trigger a clause to buy him permanently and then sell him on to Palace. So there's a bit of complications there, and Barcelona would get a good chunk of that fee as well. But talks are ongoing, and an agreement is expected soon. Been watching him for months, Crystal Palace Football Club, according to reports. £10.25 million bid rejected, but that shouldn't be a major problem. And it seems like the player wants to join Crystal Palace. Another defender. Talk to me.
Well, first of all, this if we get a deal agreed before the window opens, that might be the first time that's ever happened.
I can't remember the last time that's happened.
in our Premier League careers, like
that's happened.
A deal done before the window opens, that's unheard of for us. Let's start there. But
yeah, it's not deadline day, exactly. Yeah, normally
yeah,
it's
exactly.
when that's when last minute is banger and we sign someone on deadline day. It's weird.
Right.
It's weird.
But doing research into Chadi Riad, he's a very promising young center back. Only 20 years old, left-footed. He's a heck of a defender. Looking up some of the stuff on him, only him and Christian Mosquera are the only under 21 players in La Liga that have logged over 600 minutes this past year. It seems like he's a heck of a defender. He's actually got a decent left foot pass to him too. I haven't seen a lot of him with the ball at his feet, but obviously if we're scouting him and looking to make this deal, he's probably pretty decent with the ball at his feet as well. It sounds like, man, this pretty advanced. Like I said, you don't hear these type of reports and this type of rhetoric if something's not real. So it sounds like maybe 12 million pounds, and maybe 2 million on the bonus might be enough to get him. So
maybe around like 14 to 15 million pounds. It's a good deal for Premier League football club as long as we can afford that. And look, for me, it's reached that point. It's simple for me. If Dougie wants him, who on earth am I to say no? Like I can't really say no. I think Dougie has earned that respect. To say, if he wants a player, then that's fine. Like it works. It works. Whoever he's pretty much signed, it has worked out for us. But the juicy element, now that we've actually bit into the meat, the juicy element, and is Gahey potentially leaving? Do you think this is a Gahey replacement?
No.
That I don't think so as well. So how I see it is we've got Gahey, Anderson, Richards right now. So let's say they're the three starting centre backs. Now the backup options we've got is Rob Holding.
Yep.
And
Lerma, Klein.
But we haven't really got another centre back.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Lerma's played and he's played fantastically, but we haven't got another centre back. Now, let's say there is a long-term injury and one of those defenders get injured and Lerma's play centre back, then that could reflect onto the midfield depth. Like you're going to end up having problems there. Like you don't want to really shuffle that about as much. You want Lerma to be available in the position that he plays at, even though it's fantastic and he has played fantastically for Glasner in defence. That is not his position. So I think I've said this all along since Glasner come in. We ideally need another centre-back. I don't think having one proper centre-half and Rob Holding is enough for a side that plays three centre-halves. So 5 centre-backs at a football club, I think that sounds about right. And he's still young. He still has time to develop. So, yeah, this should be the new structure. Now, if Gahey leaves, we find another replacement for Gahey. But I do think another centre-back is where we're at. But, he's still fairly young, so I don't assume that if he comes in, he's going to be a regular starter based on the form and all these other players that we've got currently available. But for you, how do you see how he fits into the Palace side?
I mean, I think technically this is the fourth center back for us. I think we're losing Tompkins, which if we're thinking about our current setup, we have our 3 starters. And then you have Holding, Tompkins. Tompkins is leaving, so I think Holding shifts back to that 5th center back, and then you bring in Riad right now to be that 4th one behind Gahey, Richards, and Anderson. So I don't see him as being the Gahey replacement. So I would reserve that space for somebody like a Maxence Lacroix if we sell Gahey. So,
well, early predictions. Do you think Gahey will be staying? I don't think so. I think we'll cash in on him after Euros. I think he'll probably have a solid Euros as well. But then again, the reports and what everyone is saying so far suggesting that we don't need to sell any of these players, and maybe some of these players might want to stay at Crystal Palace for another year and give it a go.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the stuff that makes it harder to know. All the talk.
But if we were to sell a player, I do think it would be Gay.
Yeah.
And based on the replacements and the rumors as well, it does seem like that could be the case. But then again, let's see what happens. But I think this is a positive move. Of course, nothing is confirmed yet. But as soon as it's confirmed, or if there's any updates, we'll be here most likely tomorrow and every other day for about 3 months talking about all the latest news. So if you haven't already done, subscribe. And if you're enjoying the content, people, make sure to smash the like button as well. And if you have questions, just like Tim does, put a Q and a dot before it or pin it, even if it's not transfer related, and just maybe general Palace questions, and we'll answer it at the end of the show. Just put the Q and a dot, just like Tim has, but we'll answer Tim's question as it links to what we're talking about right now. He says, do you think this is a Dougie one, or has Glasner been eyeing him up as well?
I think it's a combination of both, Tim. I think naturally when you bring in a new manager, the scouting focus has to change somewhat. You know what I mean? Naturally, especially in this situation we're talking about with center backs. I think the type of center back that you're looking for in a Glasner system is extremely different from a center back that you're looking for in a Hodgson system. So you're bringing in a guy like OG, and then OG naturally has a certain way he wants to play. And Dougie has to marry his abilities and what he does in scouting with what OG's doing in coaching and in managing. So I think it's kind of a combination of the two. So OG's been in there since February. And what I would say is we haven't heard the Chadi Riad name prior to now. So my thinking is that since February, with OG coming in, Dougie has recreated his scouting lists and who he's looking at and the type of players, and Riad has been one of those names that's been on that list. So I think it's kind of a combination of the two.
Yeah. I think that as well, and I think as soon as Glasner's come in, I think the priorities probably have kind of changed. Not because of just what Glasner demands, but because of the system that we play. We went from playing 2 at the back with 2 centre halves to now having 3 centre halves there. So naturally, you look at the squad, you look at what we're missing, and this squad wasn't kind of built for having a back 3 in terms of depth options. So I guess this was straight away on the list. And it's funny, as soon as the season ends, it's now time for business. Like, we are not stopping as a football club. The message that we're getting from, the manager, even the chairman, and everyone associated with the football club is that we want to push on. Now, I've said this as well. It's easy. Talk is easy. And pretty much a lot of last season, majority of last season, it was frustrating. It was frustrating on and off the pitch. But as I said, talk is cheap. Action matters. And the fact that we are looking to make these moves early on, not only is there pressure from the football club to make Glasner happy, the players happy, because, I mean, let's not forget, Joachim Andersen's even mentioned it. Like, with a few additions, maybe we can push on. It's not like we just want it as a band. I think the players want that depth options as well to push on as a football club. So they understand it. The manager understands it. And Dougie Friedman, let's not forget, like, he's been rumored to leave the club potentially as well. If we do want to keep him, I don't know how true these reports were, but I saw something along the lines of, he doesn't want to sell every single one of these players. He wants to actually continue building this. So we have to show everyone, as I mentioned, a lot of people involved, the ambition. And the only way you can do that is start off straight away. Start off straight away with a strong start to the summer window, which hasn't even kicked off yet. So which is funny. But look, let's see exactly.
Kicked off for some, but hasn't kicked off for others.
I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, if you look at Chelsea, I mean, he's kicked off straight away. It took like 2 days before they get rid of the manager.
Literally.
But yeah, keep sending your questions, by the way, people. I'm pinning them all now, and then hopefully I don't miss any. But we'll go through them at the end of the show, which is not going to be long, because the next player we're talking about is a potential outgoing, which is not maybe as significant as some people may think. But Scott Banks has actually been rumored to be leaving the club, according to Alan Nixon. The Scottish midfielder is heading to the Bundesliga New Boys St. Pauli in a permanent deal. He is currently out on loan there. So Scott Banks, end of an era, but there's no point. How I see it is there's no point in keeping players for the sake of keeping them. He doesn't really have a future at Crystal Palace Football Club, and he can potentially, he's going to be playing in a top division in Germany after getting them promoted, helping them get promoted. So it makes sense for all parties involved. I just wonder if there's going to be any fee. If so, how much will it be? I doubt it'll be anything significant.
I saw one source, and I couldn't track it down the name of where it was, but the number I saw was 500K.
I mean, that's like what? That's his wages. You're paying like least wage for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's nothing. I mean, I feel like we could have gotten closer to that million, but I get it. They're a Bundesliga 2 club making the jump up. Probably don't have a crazy spending amount, but I don't know. I was hoping that we could fetch a little bit more for him, but I also hear that, naturally we kind of had to do maybe a cut price situation because apparently he didn't have much time left on his contract. So
yeah, and I mean the fee is not significant. For you, is it a surprise that he's leaving?
No, it's not a surprise that he's leaving for me. When you think about all the options that we have in front of him, for instance, when we brought in a guy like França, it kind of made you realize that, he probably wasn't going to be in the plans moving forward. I mean, he already had Jez Roxaki in front of him, so, I mean, when you got a guy that's that far down the pecking order and, he's getting up there in age. I mean, I think he's 22, maybe about to be 23. It's kind of just a casualty of having options, whether it be in the academy or being in the senior team. So
yeah, all the best to him. All the best to him in the future.
Absolutely.
And I don't think he'll be the last person to be leaving this summer.
No, I heard. Did you see that John Kimani Gordon is going to be leaving? I saw that.
Oh, is he? Where's he going? I didn't see that.
I didn't. They said he's going to be leaving as a free agent. Is what I saw.
It won't. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, there's no point keeping these players at the football club if we don't really see a future with them. And plus, some of them are getting older as well.
Because John Kimani Gordon's 22. So.
Yeah, exactly, 22, and is he going to really get opportunities at Palace? I don't think so. By the way, people, I know some of you are sending questions, but because there's a lot of comments, just make sure you put the Q and the dot before your question, so
absolutely.
I can just
That's how we know. Easiest way to see it. Easiest way to start.
Statement, there's questions, there's lots of stuff. So just put the Q and the dot so I can actually pin it, and then we can go through them. Which, you know what, it's worth going through them now, because we've gone through all the news. As always, if you're enjoying it, people, like, subscribe. Let's keep the the community growing. It helps our algorithm. It's not ego abuse from me. I couldn't care any less, as I said, about the likes, but yeah, it helps grow the channel, because that's how YouTube works, which I'm pretty sure all of you would already know. There's a lot of questions to actually go through. Everyone's asking questions. Let's go through them. Let's start off with we already answered that. Let's go back to Tim. Do you think we'll still go after Ronnie Edwards again? Such a promising prospect. You know what? I would have loved to have him at Palace. But I don't know, T. I mean, if Gahey was to leave, I don't think Edwards would be his replacement. I think that
I think the Chadi Riad move is kind of rules out the Edwards move. I think if we bring a kid like Chadi Riad, I think we don't go after Edwards. And it makes, for me personally, I get it. I get why you make this move, because Chadi Riad is he's playing at the highest level already. He's played over 600 minutes this season in La Liga. Like, he's playing against Barcelona. He's playing against Real Madrid. Like, he's playing at a high level. Whereas, you go out and you spend a lot of money. Like, I guess you could technically overpay for a kid like Ronnie Edwards, because they're wanting a pretty significant amount of money for him. And this is a kid,
money though. That's why I'm surprised. So I guess we picked Riad over Edwards.
Right. So do you pay a little bit more for something that is that would, if you have more quality, if you know that if it's more assured quality here, cool, I pay this 10 million compared to, hey, I don't want to pay 5 to 7 million for a League One guy that we hope could be good, compared to a guy that's a young guy that's playing at the highest level in
High level
Spain.
there. Yeah, it makes
You know,
sense. It makes
so
sense
I
to.
think if the Chadi Riad move happens, I don't think we then go for a guy like Ronnie Edwards, who also is undersized. Ronnie Edwards is only like 5'10", 5'11". He's not tall at all.
Maybe that played into a factor as well. Maybe that played into
Yeah,
a factor.
maybe Glasner wants taller center backs.
Yeah, and it makes sense after all the goals that have been conceded before
Facts.
Glasner, and maybe
Facts.
height
Facts.
matters as well in defense. Nick saying, have you recovered from Sunday yet, D? I have. Sunday was an amazing day for me. It was not because of just a Villa game. I mean, a lot of things happened on Sunday. I went to, well, the whole country basically stopped for Fenerbahce Galatasaray, so I went outside to watch that, which was fun. Of course, Fenerbahce beat Galatasaray with 10 men. Zaha actually came on and done absolutely nothing, but he wasn't on for long. But that is what it is. And yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. And this Sunday is going to be massive because Galatasaray technically should be winning the league. All they need is a point. But if they lose at Fenerbahce, which they should beat the team that's last in the league, that's only picked up 16 points in like 30 games or so. Fenerbahce might end up winning the league still. There's still a chance. So yeah, this Sunday, jeez. This Sunday, if I'm alive, if the aircon doesn't kill me, I will be watching that. I will be watching that.
The air conditioner from his luxury suite, might we add.
From my penthouse. Yeah, sorry. From my penthouse. Nah,
yeah, because Monty asked, "Did you win the lottery?"
Well, yeah, I'll go to that. I'll go to that after this. Would you want a Kamada from Lazio? Sounds like there must be a decision by May 30th, and Palace have agreed to pay his salary demands. I think, yeah, we've been rumored with him potentially today as well, T.
I mean, here's the first thing: he's free. That's a huge part. He's free. He would be free in this sense. He's played for Glasner in the past and had a lot of success. He has the ability to also fill in at striker. I guess my only question then is, if you bring him in, are you looking to have him compete with Ayew, or are you looking to have him come in, compete, and play over a guy like França? Or do you only consider bring him in if in fact we lose one of our two between Eze and Elise? Like, I feel like there's some things that kind of have to line up, or some understandings that have to be had for that move to come to fruition.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. But right now, the player that seems like we will be signing is a defender, Riad. So we'll see what happens. With Kamada. Monty, have I won the lottery? Unfortunately not. I haven't. But yeah, I'm still here. I'll be back in the UK soon enough, and then out of the UK quickly as well.
He did win the lottery, Monty. The lottery.
I'm just going on vacation.
Oh, just going to the Dominican Republic a week after. Yeah, no, nothing special. Nothing special.
In my private jet, of course. I'm nothing major. So keep liking, subscribing, because all you lot, I'm joking, nothing's good from this. I wish so. Let's move on to Grav, who's saying we need to keep at least, say, Eze and Mateta. These players got good chemistry in them. The link up plays good. Also, Anderson and Mateta got bromance in them as well. Yeah, we have to keep everyone. I think that's pretty much a statement as well as a question, I guess, T.
Well, I say, yeah, I felt like that was more of a statement, but yeah, Grav, go on.
You're right. You are right. Yeah, you are right. We do need to keep them.
Yep.
Real Elio. How do you pronounce it? Real
Elio?
Yeah, Elio. How do we add significant depth to our squad without compromising our wage bill, which is already quite high? Well, this is a very good question. And this is why it's kind of surprising about the reports that we don't need to sell, because I've always had the feeling leading up to the summer that we will need to sell someone. So it's interesting. But maybe it's a case of, trying to get rid of the fringe players. They might be earning, I don't know, 10, 20,000, and that can add up to another player. Just basically trying to balance out the books without, significant sales. I guess with the depth options, if we're not having a major sale, how many players can we add with depth? These are questions which it's hard to know because I
Well,
thought we would
you
have
got
to
to
start.
think about it, yeah, because if say we sell Edward, granted we may only get between 12 and 15 million for Edward, but Edward's wages are rumored to be around 100,000 a week.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So just moving him on gives us a lot of room to provide depth for that. And then at the same time, let's think about it. What does squad depth mean? When you're adding depth players, you're adding players that won't cost you a lot of money because they're there for depth.
Hmm.
Now, if we're talking about adding guys for our starting 11, then yeah, we're talking about guys that are going to be more expensive to buy and more expensive to give wages to. But in this situation, we're probably talking about trying to add guys that, number one, probably aren't going to cost us as much in transfer fees and wouldn't be too much on wages. So I think it's all about how you go about making your moves and making the smart moves.
Yeah, yeah. Louis, very good question. Reckon we'll need another person behind Munoz, right wing back looking a bit weak. The question is, do we need another right wing back, or is Imre a good enough backup option
And
for
that's a
next
good
season?
point. And that's a good point. And I think that's what the summer will definitely let us know about that piece.
Because Imre, yeah, he's had a good season.
And we're rumored to be interested in a guy like Ben Johnson, who, once
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
would
yeah. That's
be
going to be a
would be would be
quite
a free
tough.
option, would be a free
Yeah.
option, would be a depth option, and wouldn't be extremely costly with his wages. So therein
But
lies
is he
what we're
really a
talking
right
about.
wing back? I'm not too sure.
I
Johnson,
don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, could he do the job? I mean, I haven't really watched enough Ben Johnson to
That's
say
interesting,
yes or
you know.
no. But
Johnson, if we sign Johnson, that's going to be, she's like 6 defenders at a football club. If we, keep holding, sign Riad and then Johnson, that's like 3-3, which is maybe a bit too many. I don't know. I think two
I mean,
as back
a bit too
option.
many when you run the three at the back. I think it'd be a lot to consider if we were running only two at the back. But a three at the back setup, you have five defenders on the pitch at one time. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I think two is probably enough. Realistically, in terms of game opportunities as well, I just don't see Johnson coming to Palace to sit on the bench with no opportunities. And I think it's pretty much that's the case if he was to join. Because I mean, when will he get the opportunity? But let's see. Cup competition, of course, is going to be massive as well. But then
Yep,
again, I
yep.
just don't really see us changing all of the back three for cup competitions. And if we're talking about wages and stuff, I don't know
Yep.
if it would be wise to have all three defenders. Nick saying, and why do those outside of Palace have this impression that we are selling club? I think for me, this is straightforward. Is outside looking in, you look at Elise as a Walton, Gahey, all these players, they should be playing at a high level. They've got quality. So people naturally have the impression that because they've got the quality to play at a high level, that they 100% want to leave Crystal Palace, that they hate their lives in Crystal Palace, that that they're going to be joining a big club. That's what people just assume straight away. Whereas we
Mm-hmm.
know that's not the case. Like, look how long it took for Zaha to leave the club. Like, it's not as black and white as, I don't know. I know we like to compare ourselves at times to Brighton in terms of what they want to do and how they buy players for cheap and sell them on, but we don't kind of operate like that. We haven't operated like that. Like, they are, as soon as you pay up for a player for Brighton, they will leave. But with Palace, it's not as black and white as Brighton are. And funny enough, their managers left as well, so it's not always the best way to keep a manager, even though it makes sense business wise. David has a question saying France had a few moments this season, but still looks like he needs to get stronger, gets pushed around a bit. What do you think? Yeah, I think what you said, he's had a few moments, but he hasn't had consistent minutes. And also, the previous manager, I don't think helped him at all. And then, of course, he picked up the injury under Glasner, so he hasn't been able to play under Glasner. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think time is going to be the biggest asset for him. And because there's the acclimation to a new country, acclimation to a new league, teammates, managers, and everything, and that's not a fast thing. So I think with him, the more time that he gets with the club in London with Glasner, just seeing how quickly Glasner was able to implement everything to make it run the way that it did with an entirety of a team, it makes you think that he can get it understood with just one player like France, I think France is going to be all right.
Yeah. Older Bear saying is Gyro the Dutch King? Yes.
Yes. All the other questions,
Exactly.
all of the answers, then yes would be incorrect.
Yes, it is a quick yes. Leon says, do you think we'll challenge for Europe next season? I think there's a possibility. I do think there's a possibility. I've
Yeah.
always said that this season has been frustrating because I don't think we've reached levels that we should have. And we're seeing with Glasner how good some of these players are. And there is a possibility, but it depends on what happens in the summer window. If we do sign this defender, Chadi Riad from Betis / Barcelona, I think that's a positive step. But let's see who leaves and who also joins, because I don't think that will be the only business that we have. Max saying new sponsor for next season. What's the latest on new main stand reconstruction? New sponsor for next season hasn't been confirmed. It's hard to guess because God knows what brand it could be. I've liked Cinch personally. I think it's all right, and it's not a gambling.
Yeah, I've actually liked them.
Sponsor. And yeah, it's better without a gambling sponsor, in my opinion. But let's see if the club go back to that. Hopefully they don't. But I know there was some rule changes around that. And the main stand, potentially this summer, work should be starting. See?
So if they start it, but they don't start it until the summer, what does that look like for us during the season then? Does that mean we play more road contests then?
Nah, I mean, it's going to take a while to finish. So it's going to be, the construction is going to be going on whilst the season's going on. So that's why it's going to take a bit longer. We're not closing the whole stand. So
right. So they'll be able to like play through it. They'll be able to play in the stadium through the construction. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why it's going to be taking a bit longer than normal. Any news on France injury? He should be back for preseason. Season's done anyway.
He'll be fine. I think it was just a choice to shut him down, and a lot of reasons. Like he was back training, and stuff. I think it was a choice to shut him down.
Yeah. Bloom Slang says, think Riedewald will find a new home. He's only 27, so he has time left.
For sure.
Find a new home, 100%.
Yeah, I think he's going to play well somewhere too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just couldn't do that at Palace. Patrick, Tony Cruz retirement thoughts. Very good player. Surprised.
Best to do it.
Retired, yeah. Exactly.
Best to do it at his position.
Exactly. For country and also club level.
Yeah.
Mac, what position do we want to be aiming for next season?
Like in the table or like...
Yeah, in the table. Well, in the table / where we are like top half or where. For me, the aim should be Europe. Like that. If you're talking about aiming, if you're aiming for something, that should be the aim. And another thing next season that I just don't want to is the R word, relegation. That should be the two things. We shouldn't be fighting or talking about relegation. And also we should be aiming for Europe. Not that we're going to finish it, but that should be the aim.
Yeah, because if Europe's the aim and we fall short of Europe, we're top 10 team. Like that's the focus. Like if you're fighting for Europe, which is like what 6-7 range, 5, 6, 7, whatever you want to say. If you fall short of that, you probably are laying in the 8, 9, 10 range, which for our club is a significant achievement prior to where we've been. We've never been beyond 10. So if you finish in 8th or 9th, it's an improvement on the year before. So I agree with you on that one.
Exactly. So yeah, let's see. Of course, the summer window plays a big part to it. Earth saying, will the new Palace Stadium ever get built? Yes, it will. It has been in the pipelines and we do want to get it done. So hopefully it gets built sooner rather than later, but the works should start this summer or I think potentially September. But for next season, the work should be starting on the new stand, not stadium. Max saying, everyone mentioned Dougie, but does the club have dedicated scouts?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the club, of course. It's not just Dougie itself.
They actually increased the staff too. In the scouting department.
Yeah, this is probably the easiest question that we can have. Can you put this on the screen?
All the bear. Shout out, man. I love your videos, man.
That's
love your videos.
That's straight away answered. Andy saying, do you think we'll be able to keep both our goalkeepers next season with Henderson now performing well and Johnson ambitious? Do you see one moving on? I do see one moving on because it just with goalkeeper, when you look at depth, in theory, it sounds great having two potential number ones there, but in reality, when you have two number ones who want to play for the national side, he's not really the youngest and similar in age as
And the
well.
same national side too.
Yeah, same national side. I don't think it's going to work. So for me, I think one will move on, and I think that will be Sam Johnston,
And
which
that's
I
more
think a
money
lot of
right
people
there.
are now a bit better with it because of how Henderson's been performing. But I know a few months ago people were saying, I want to keep Johnston, we should sell Henderson. So yeah, I think they will be moving on, and that's
So
gonna
how much
look. We
is
might get money from
I
Sam
say, hey,
Johnston,
how much is Sam Johnson worth? Do you feel?
15, 20.
So that's another 15 to 20 million right there.
Mm,
Like
mm. Yeah,
you
I
get
think
rid
I
of
think
Sam
we'll.
Johnston, like it's like, oh, do you get rid of Sam Johnson to be able to keep a guy like Gay? Do you to be able to keep a guy like Eze, to keep a guy like Elise? I'm selling Johnston. If that's the case.
Mm. Yeah. So yeah, that's one to look out for as well because it doesn't really get mentioned as much. Are we happy with our American investors? I know Parrish tends to be the focal point, but overall, are we happy? Just with the ownership, I guess, Mac, have asked that question. For me, anyways, personally, of course, the last 4 months have been fantastic, and the way that we could potentially starting the summer window, great. But let's just see how the summer window goes. For me, that's the biggest thing because
Yeah,
as I said, the ambition by talk wise is clearly there. We do want to push on, but can we back that in the market as well?
yeah.
For me, but it's
'Cause I
been a
think
great start, new era, anyways, with the with the ownership. It seems like finally they do want to push on. Whereas under Roy, it just felt like just wanted to stay in the league, and we were fine with it.
And part of it is just us being like, I think the structure is what a lot of people had an issue with, the structure of the ownership versus the investors and things like that. But if they get on one accord, if they get on the same page and there's some harmony and some understanding about how we want to move forward and things we want to do, I mean, then yeah, I mean, I'm not I would say I'm so far happy with the investors, I guess you would say, the American investors, because they've helped us out considerably, with being able to bring in the players that we currently have. You know what I'm saying? And you got investors like John Texter, whose other clubs are very successful. I mean, we just saw Lyon get Europe this past weekend.
For
You know what
fan
I'm saying?
relegation, is that a sign for
Yeah,
Friday next season? Let's
like,
see. Let's
you know
see
what I'm
if we lose
saying?
by
Like,
relegation as well.
and Botafogo's playing in Copa Libertadores, and they're like third or fourth in the Brasileiro. So we got investors who are doing big things at other places too. So, as
Yeah.
long as they're on the same page.
Yeah. Look, we're running over time, so we're going to go through these questions. Thanks to everyone who sent in more questions on top of these as well. But unfortunately, we can't answer all of them. I'll be here all night. But save them for tomorrow's potential show, if there's any other news out there. Phil saying, do we have confirmation that we still have Macron next season as a kit maker? I think there should be. I don't think the deal has expired, not that I've heard of. So it should be Macron. As far as I'm aware, I don't know if you've heard of anything, T.
No, I think I think that we got them for a while.
Can we get Virgin back as our new sponsor? Yeah,
Not a bad one.
I'll take anything over gambling companies. So yeah, I'm with that, and it looks nice as well. Gurav saying, which academy players you guys want to see playing in 11? I don't know if anyone could play in 11, but in terms of depth options, realistically, as I mentioned, as a backup to Munoz, Imre is a shout for me.
Yeah, Emre's definitely a shout for me. Teo comes to mind if we don't do anything with left wing back cover. And so he may end up getting a shot. Other than that, talking like in the 11, I can't really see anybody in the 11.
Yeah, the 11 I think is solid. It's just the depth options. It would be very hard
Yeah.
for some of the academy players to take out the 11 position. Eagle saying, do you reckon Edouard could still have a place at the club? Not really. I just don't have the feeling that Glasner race Edouard, and maybe a club would want to cash in on him this summer.
He could have a place if he was okay with being a backup striker, but I don't think he's okay with being a backup striker. And he has value right now that we can use on the market.
System. Yeah, I don't know if you just use Glasner's system as well. And finally, Errol says, with everyone fit, midfield will be competitive. If you're David Ozo, do you compete for your place or go out on loan?
I think if you're Ozo, you do what the club wants you to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, you 20, you're a kid, bro. Like, how many times do we hear reports of saying David Ozo refuses to go on loan and wants to say and fight for his position? David Ozo's a kid, And in this
He's not
situation,
that young, but I hear where you're coming from.
yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is at 19, 20 years old, you don't have 19, 20-year-old players saying, "Oh, I'm going to stay and fight for my place." It's like, no, man, if the club wants you to go on loan, you go on loan. Or if the club wants you to stay, you stay. You know, so I think I think what's going to happen for him is we find a loan, like a championship loan for him, where he can have a significant amount of minutes and be able to play.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. But look, people, that's a wrap for today's show. If you have enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and if you do want to see more regular content as well, by hitting that 2 buttons, it's a good sign. We have enjoyed it. We're back. We're going to be doing more consistent Palace content. Also, end of season review should be coming out sometime this week. Thank you to every single one of you that's sending your questions, that's been getting involved throughout the show. Really appreciate you all. If you're watching on replay, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. That's it from me and T, and until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.